Hello everyone, it's Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I'm going to be doing a few videos in this format because I'm trying multiple platforms. I got to find some other way to monetize. I can't necessarily stay generalized with YouTube. This is not going to work. So this is just going to be pushed up. But I saw this story yesterday and I wanted to put my own 2 cents into it. Yesterday, while at the doctor's appointment, I was sitting there chained to CNN, and they were bathing in this. Oh, they bathed the case, Cohen getting arrested or getting convicted, given an allocution. Jake Tapper talking to all of the people on the round table. Everybody on the table against Trump. One guy for Trump, and they are loving it. They're chomping at the bit to get their chance to talk. Is it my chance to say something? Is it my chance to put the knife in? Oh, I can't wait! I just want to put the knife in. Now, here's the catch. None of this has anything to do with Russia. Zero to do with Russia. None of this Russia collusion. At most, it was referred by Mueller, and Mueller was looking into the Russia collusion. But what the cases revolve around deal with tax fraud, and there's one deals with violations of campaign violations. Now, that's the part that gets interesting. Now, Manafort goes down for all sorts of banking fraud, dealing with some kind of shady deal going on with a Ukrainian businessman, trying, believe it or not, pro-American stuff. That kind of pushes back against the narrative that they were pushing that this was some kind of Russian stooge. But on the second part, Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen is more interesting because Michael Cohen was Donald Trump's attorney. Michael Cohen, as Donald Trump's attorney, was audio taping his own client. So when the feds raided his place, what do you know? Audio tapes of Donald Trump paying hush money to a porn star. What the hell? What the hell? So Donald Trump says he didn't pay hush money to a porn star, then comes back around. Giuliani says, yes, he did pay hush money to a porn star. Why does this matter? We were talking about Russians before. Why does it matter whether or not a plutocrat, a blue-collar billionaire, that fancies himself to some degree a playboy, at the very least when he was younger, had sex with a porn star? Why does it matter? It matters because potentially Donald Trump used $130,000 to pay off a porn star so it wouldn't adversely affect the campaign. Meaning that that money to some degree was intrinsically linked to the campaign itself. If they can make that stick, that the money that was paid was to hush her up and to shut her up, and it was connected to the campaign, then under that rule, Donald Trump has broken federal law, campaign finance laws. When Donald Trump's lawyer is allocuting, and in his allocution, he is implicating the President of the United States in crimes, you can kind of understand why a media that has hated Donald Trump like nobody's business is laughing and they're bathing in it. They're like, oh God, did you hear what he said? He said the president gave him $130,000. Do you have anything to say to that? How about you? You want to get into this? How about you? You want to get your words in? Oh, everybody has a knife. Give everybody a knife. We want to put a knife in. Everybody wants to put a knife in. I did a show early on, way back when I first started this channel. And I said, this is a witch hunt. I said they're going to use whatever they can to use against you. And if I'm not mistaken, I showed this video.
If Monica Lewinsky says that while you were in the Oval Office area you touched her breast, would she be lying?
Let me say something about all this.
All I really need for you, Mr. President, is to say I won't answer under the previous grounds or to answer the question. You see, because we only have 4 hours and your answers are extremely lengthy.
But go ahead and ask your questions.
Question.
Do you know how the indignity of a president sitting there looking that bad? That's the president of the United States at the time. being asked questions in this pointed way about whether or not he fondled a woman's breast. I said, do you remember what got that president sitting there? I don't think most people will remember, but it had nothing to do with sex. It had nothing to do with Monica Lewinsky. It had everything to do with a real estate trial or a real estate investigation that metastasized into presidential stain on a dress and the president being impeached. Nobody remembered the original inciting incident. Everybody remembers Bill Clinton getting impeached. Now, what this means for Donald Trump is interesting. Just because Michael Cohen is allocated and just because Michael Cohen is implicated Trump doesn't necessarily mean that Trump is completely guilty. If Trump can say this is out of my own pocket, or if the bar is set high enough, then Trump may be able to skate on this. Now, there are two things. A sitting president won't be impeached. Doesn't mean they can't get him after, but a sitting president won't be impeached. Won't be indicted. Whether he will be impeached or not is more of a question for the Republican Party or for the Democratic Party if they take office. What I would say is, it would be the worst thing in the world for you to do if you impeached Trump, putting Pence in that office. Donald Trump is the best thing in the world for you if you're a Democrat going into the next election. I said from the beginning this was a witch hunt. Nobody remembers the thing that starts the witch hunt. They only remember the thing that gets them in the end. Oftentimes, the investigation is not there because you got something. The investigation, especially from a political standpoint, is there to find something. And in this case, you finally caught the president committing a crime. Or at the very least, it looks that way. What I would say is, under normal circumstances, in all these other cases, when I went after HA and I said HA was a bad idea for him to fire Comey, it's because of stuff like this. Mueller had a very specific focus. Mueller was a hatchet guy. Mueller was the same guy that they used to sell weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And he has done his job awesomely of selling this idea of Russian meddling, dripping one item after the next into the public consciousness, just enough to keep it alive month after month after month. And in this case, getting convictions that have nothing to do with the actual thing. But the media doesn't care about that. The media just cares that there were convictions, that they came out of the trial that was talked about Russia, which has to, in some way, even if it's just through osmosis, relate to the president. Beforehand, they didn't have anything. Right now, at the very least, they have one of your close guys, your lawyer, committing a felony. Convicted. And that convicted felon also implicating you right along with them. Here's the catch. We went to war in Iraq and George Bush walked. Bush killed 1 million people. You can understand why I'm not all that enamored by this. Even if you catch Trump on this, fair enough. But this started off as a Russian meddling thing, had nothing to do with any of this. All of this was kind of this slide up into the point where you can find something to potentially get him on. You don't necessarily have him on this, but it damn sure looked like the president committed a crime. Here's the thing though. The other candidate also committed a crime. Barbara Donna Brazile tells it entirely in the political piece. I'm putting all of this in the article itself so you can see it for yourself. I'm putting all this in the bottom. You can see it for yourself. I'm just saying it looks like the president of the United States committed a crime, or at the very least one of his lawyers has implicated him in that crime. So I will end this here. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. Thanks, guys.